Have you ever felt the universe whispering to you, guiding you towards something invisible, yet undeniably real? Imagine standing at the edge of your life, questioning everything you believed about destiny, reality, and the flow of time. What if every moment you thought was coincidence was actually a message? Most people live their entire lives trapped in the illusion of randomness, unaware that their reality is orchestrated by subtle, unseen forces. And while fear convinces them that life is chaotic, there exists a deeper power, a hidden order, that can be recognized, interpreted, and even aligned with. Today, we're about to uncover the signs the universe sends to reveal what is truly meant for you. These are not mere coincidences. These are signals encoded in the fabric of reality itself, waiting for you to notice them, to act upon them, and to awaken. By the end of this journey, you won't just see the world differently, you'll see yourself differently. You will begin to understand your life not as random events, but as a mystical map, pointing you toward your destiny. Time, in its essence, is far more than a linear sequence of past, present, and future. What we call time is a construct, a lens through which our consciousness interprets reality. Yet the universe moves according to rhythms that transcend our limited perception, flows that are both subtle and vast, precise yet invisible. These rhythms are the threads of a tapestry we rarely see, but they are constantly at work, weaving the intricate patterns of our lives. To recognize these threads is to recognize the architecture of your own destiny. Every human experience, every encounter, every chance meeting carries the potential for revelation. At first, these moments appear random, like scattered stars in an indifferent sky. But when you slow your perception, when you attune yourself to the quiet language of reality, patterns emerge. They emerge in sequences that are almost mathematical in their precision, yet deeply poetic in the way they touch the human soul. Consider the phenomenon of repeated encounters with the same themes, the same challenges, the same lessons. Perhaps a situation recurs, a relationship echoes a previous one, or an opportunity resurfaces in a slightly altered form. These recurrences are not failures or coincidences, they are invitations. They are the universe pressing gently, or sometimes insistently, on the very doors of your awareness, asking you to see, to understand, to evolve. They are the rhythm of cosmic education, invisible yet undeniable. The threads of time also reveal themselves through the synchronicities that pepper our lives. These are the moments when events align with such uncanny precision that they leave no room for dismissing them as chance. A thought you had, a book you open, a conversation you overhear, all seem to converge with your inner state, as if the universe itself is leaning closer to whisper secrets only your attentive consciousness can hear. Synchronicity is the universe's way of bending reality just enough to illuminate a path you might otherwise have missed, yet it requires presence, patience, and a willingness to notice. Life's seemingly ordinary moments are often the most profound teachers. The mundane and the miraculous exist side by side, inseparable from each other. A smile from a stranger, the timing of a word spoken, a shift in circumstances that feels entirely unearned. These are not accidents. They are signals, threads of time tugging at the fabric of your attention, calling you to notice a larger design. To follow these threads is not simply to observe, it is to cultivate an inner discipline, a sensitivity to the subtle currents of reality. The universe communicates not only through external events, but also through your internal world, through intuition, dreams, fleeting emotions, and moments of clarity that seem to emerge from nowhere. Often, these internal nudges are easier to overlook than the external signs precisely because they require quiet, still attention in a world that constantly demands noise and distraction. There is a deeper paradox at play. The more you attempt to control time, to plan and dictate your path, the more you obscure the very signs that would guide you. Conversely, when you surrender to the flow of existence, when you practice observation without the compulsion to manipulate, the threads of time begin to reveal themselves with startling clarity. You start to see the invisible scaffolding that has always existed, the hidden currents that carry you toward what is authentically meant for you. These threads are not merely poetic metaphors. They are the practical mechanisms through which reality aligns with intention and soul purpose. When one begins to notice the patterns, one discovers that life is a dialogue rather than a monologue. The universe presents choices, guidance, and opportunities, and each thread is a message, a pathway, a key to understanding what lies ahead. It is a rhythm that asks for recognition, reflection, and sometimes action, an invitation to move consciously through the spaces where fate and free will intersect. In essence, time is alive. It is a living, breathing current that responds to awareness. It stretches and contracts, ebbs and flows, often orchestrating moments that seem accidental but are in truth meticulously aligned. The more deeply you attune to its pulses, the more you begin to perceive life not as a series of disconnected events, but as a symphony of interconnected occurrences, each note carrying meaning, each interval offering guidance. To be aware of these threads is to step into a state of subtle empowerment. You no longer drift passively, buffeted by circumstances, or trapped in cycles of frustration. Instead, you move with the rhythm, noticing the signs, heeding the nudges, and gradually uncovering the architecture of your own life. The universe is not a random chaos. It is a profound intelligence, a deliberate design that communicates continuously in ways that reward patience, attention, and courage. By learning to read these threads, to follow their winding, invisible paths, you cultivate a profound understanding of reality itself. You begin to see that your journey is not simply a succession of events, but a co-creation with the universe, a dance in which every step, however small, has significance. And once this perception deepens, even the most ordinary moments take on a dimension of wonder, for you realize that the fabric of your life has always been alive, woven with intention, purpose, and subtle beauty. The paradox of the universe's signs is one of the most profound mysteries we encounter in life. At first glance, it seems almost cruel. The signs are everywhere, yet so few notice them. We live in a society that trains us to ignore subtlety, to distrust the inner voice, to seek certainty in measurable outcomes rather than in the quiet whispers of reality. And yet, these whispers are louder than anything else, if only we have the patience to hear. The universe communicates in a language that is subtle, multidimensional, and often paradoxical. It hides its messages in coincidences, in moments that defy logic, and in encounters that seem random, yet are perfectly timed. You may find yourself thinking of someone you haven't seen in years, and then they appear unexpectedly. You may stumble across a book that answers a question you didn't know how to ask. You may hear a phrase, a single word, or a sentence that suddenly changes the way you perceive your own life. These are not mere coincidences. They are deliberate interventions by reality, signaling, guiding, and sometimes even testing your awareness. But here lies the tension. Signs are meaningless if we cannot perceive them, and perceiving them requires a suspension of the ordinary rules by which we interpret the world. The mind, conditioned to seek logic and cause and effect explanations, often dismisses these phenomena as chance. It tells you, this is coincidence, or you are imagining connections. And in that dismissal, we lose sight of the very guidance we seek. The paradox, then, is that the closer we are to the signs, the more we risk overlooking them, simply because the mind is unwilling to bend, to trust the invisible, to surrender to uncertainty. This paradox creates what can be described as tension in perception. You begin to notice that reality itself seems to conspire to reveal something, but the revelation is never straightforward. It is fragmented, symbolic, and elusive. A repeated number appears across different contexts. A situation mirrors a dream. An obstacle in one area suddenly opens a doorway in another. All of these events, when examined carefully, reveal layers of meaning, yet they refuse to hand over clarity in a neat package. The universe does not speak in absolutes. It speaks in nuance, in signs that require reflection, insight, and patience. There is also a temporal paradox inherent in the signs. Often, the moment at which a sign occurs feels irrelevant or inconvenient. It arrives too early, too late, or at a time when your perception is clouded by fear, doubt, or distraction. Yet these moments are never truly mistimed. They exist as markers of a rhythm, one that is not yours alone, but is part of a greater cosmic flow. The task is to learn to read these markers, to sense the beat of the universe, and to recognize that what initially appears confusing is often a preparation for deeper understanding. The signs themselves are diverse and multifaceted. They may manifest as people entering your life who reflect essential truths, forcing you to confront parts of yourself you have ignored. They may appear as repeated patterns in circumstances that seem frustrating until you finally decode their hidden message. They may arrive through synchronicities, moments when events align in ways so improbable they seem miraculous, yet upon reflection reveal a design as intricate as it is deliberate. And yet the signs are never a form of coercion. The universe does not impose. It invites. It nudges, illuminates, and waits for recognition. The paradox is that we are simultaneously free and guided, active participants and receptive observers. Awareness is the key. The more attuned we become, the more precise and transformative the signs reveal themselves to be. Ignoring them is not a matter of ignorance alone. It is often a reflection of fear, hesitation, or an unwillingness to relinquish control. In this tension between control and surrender lies a deeper lesson. Life is never truly random, yet it is never entirely predictable. It is a dynamic interplay between the seen and the unseen, the known and the unknown. The signs are threads of meaning woven into this interplay, waiting to be followed. They create what can only be described as a curiosity loop, a mental and spiritual friction that bends perception and stretches consciousness. The universe, in this sense, is not simply giving answers. It is provoking questions, inviting exploration, and awakening awareness in a way that logic alone cannot achieve. To exist in this loop is to become a seeker of subtle patterns, a student of the invisible, and a practitioner of attention. You begin to notice that your inner states mirror external reality. Emotional shifts, fleeting intuitions, sudden insights, all serve as signposts. Sometimes the universe will challenge your expectations, offering a solution wrapped in paradox or a revelation disguised as confusion. And yet, if you remain open, reflective, and observant, the patterns emerge. They guide you not through instruction but through revelation, a continuous, unfolding dance between you and the cosmos. Ultimately, the paradox of the signs is also the doorway to transformation. The tension, the mystery, the unexpected turns, they are not obstacles but catalysts. They force you to question assumptions, to expand perception, and to recognize that reality itself is far more fluid, intelligent, and responsive than you have been taught to believe. When you embrace the paradox, when you dwell in curiosity rather than certainty, life begins to reveal a deeper coherence. Every encounter, every coincidence, every repeated pattern becomes part of a living conversation with the universe, a dialogue in which you are both participant and observer, co-creating a life that is aligned with your deepest purpose. In this space, awareness becomes the ultimate tool, and curiosity the compass. The more you notice, the more the universe reveals. The more you question, the more clarity arrives. And paradoxically, the more you surrender to uncertainty, the more you find that reality is not chaotic at all. It is a deeply orchestrated, intelligent, and responsive system, forever inviting you to recognize what has always been there, waiting for you to see. There is a truth that most never fully grasp. The universe is not chaotic, and life is not random. Every experience, every encounter, every seeming coincidence carries purpose, intention, and meaning. There is a rhythm underlying reality, subtle yet undeniable, a rhythm that aligns with the deepest patterns of your soul. Once you begin to perceive it, the world ceases to feel arbitrary. The universe begins to feel like a living, conscious entity, orchestrating circumstances and encounters in accordance with a hidden design. And this design is visible, if only you learn to read the signs. The first of these signs is synchronicities that defy logic. These are moments when reality aligns perfectly with your inner thoughts, when an idea you have been pondering manifests externally in ways that feel impossible. Perhaps you are thinking of a solution to a problem, and suddenly a conversation, a book, or even a fleeting interaction provides the exact insight you need. These moments are not random. They are reality mirroring your inner awareness, responding to your attention, and confirming that you are on a path that resonates with your purpose. Synchronicity is the universe's way of saying, you are aligned, you are noticing, this is the path meant for you. The second sign is unexpected doors opening. Life has a way of presenting opportunities when you least expect them, often appearing in forms that feel predestined. as if the cosmos itself has nudged circumstances to converge at the perfect moment. These doors may be new relationships, career shifts, or experiences that challenge your existing worldview. The key is noticing the timing. These openings are rarely forced. They arrive as invitations, gentle yet insistent, encouraging you to step into what has long awaited your courage and awareness. The third is repeating patterns and cycles. Life often recycles experiences, presenting the same lessons in new forms until you finally recognize the message embedded within them. A recurring challenge in relationships, a professional struggle, or even emotional states that seem to mirror past moments are not punishments or coincidences. They are invitations to evolve, to see what you might have missed, to act with greater wisdom. The repetition is purposeful. Each cycle is a mirror of your own inner growth, nudging you to uncover what has always been necessary for your transformation. The fourth sign is intuitive nudges. These are quiet, internal sensations, moments of knowing that arise seemingly from nowhere. You may feel drawn to a choice or action without fully understanding why, a subtle pull that feels both inevitable and mysterious. These nudges are often overlooked because they demand trust, patience, and attention. Yet they are the compass of the soul, guiding you toward alignment with your highest potential. Acting on intuition is an act of faith in the intelligence of the universe, a surrender that paradoxically leads to power and clarity. The fifth sign is obstacles as guidance. Resistance is not always a barrier to success. Sometimes it is a redirector, a signpost pointing toward what serves your highest good. When life seems to block you, consider the possibility that the obstruction is not an endpoint, but a pivot. The universe often presents challenges not to punish, but to refine. These obstacles reveal where your intentions are misaligned, where growth is required, and where clarity awaits. They teach patience, resilience, and discernment, ensuring that what ultimately manifests is fully in harmony with your true path. The sixth is people as mirrors. Every individual who enters your life carries reflections of your own consciousness. Some bring joy, some bring challenge, but all are designed to illuminate truths about yourself. A difficult interaction may reveal hidden aspects of your own shadow. A nurturing connection may highlight strengths you have overlooked. The universe communicates through relationships, using others to mirror your own inner landscape. Observing these reflections with honesty and openness allows you to decode patterns and understand the deeper currents guiding your journey. The seventh and final sign is timing coincidences. Sometimes the alignment is so precise that it feels uncanny, almost impossible to have orchestrated. A series of events converges to provide clarity, revelation, or opportunity in a way you could not plan. These are moments when the universe reveals that timing is not a human construct but a divine orchestration. Recognizing and acting upon these moments is a practice in presence, awareness, and trust. They serve as confirmations that you are moving in harmony with the rhythm of life, stepping into what has always been awaiting you. Together, these 7 signs form a universal language, a guidepost system that the universe uses to communicate with those willing to observe. Synchronicities, doors, cycles, intuition, obstacles, mirrors, and timing are not random. They are the markers of alignment, the signposts of destiny. When you learn to read them, life transforms from a series of chaotic events into a coherent narrative, one where every experience carries wisdom, every challenge carries guidance, and every encounter carries the potential for awakening. This insight is not theoretical, it is practical. By paying attention, cultivating stillness, and trusting your inner knowing, you begin to perceive the invisible currents that move through your life. You begin to act with awareness rather than reaction. You begin to co-create reality with the universe rather than be swept along by it. The signs are everywhere, but they require eyes to see, hearts to feel, and courage to follow. And in recognizing them, you discover the profound truth. What is meant for you has always been in motion, perfectly timed, and waiting for you to step into it with presence, awareness, and trust. You may have felt it before, the quiet, almost unnameable sense that life is trying to tell you something, that there is a current beneath the surface pulling at your awareness, but that you are somehow too distracted, too burdened, or too skeptical to truly notice. Perhaps you have stood at a crossroads, feeling an invisible tug, sensing the presence of a choice you cannot fully articulate. These are not accidents. These are the universe speaking to you in the only way it can, through the subtle, intricate language of lived experience. We often move through life believing we are alone, isolated in our struggles, our desires, and our confusions. Yet, in truth, every individual is connected to a web of unseen forces, energies, and intentions. Your fears, your doubts, and your longings are not anomalies. They are signals, reflections of your soul's deeper awareness. And the more willing you are to confront them, to examine them honestly, the more clearly you begin to see the signs that have been guiding you all along. There is a profound human vulnerability in noticing these signs. To truly see them requires that you allow yourself to feel, to acknowledge your own uncertainty, and to accept that you do not control everything. Most people resist this vulnerability, hiding behind routines, distractions, and the illusion of certainty. But the universe speaks most clearly to those who are willing to feel deeply, to observe patiently, and to act with courage, even when the path is unclear. Consider the moments in your life when a chance encounter left a lasting impression. Perhaps it was a stranger's words that seemed to echo something inside you had been too afraid to acknowledge. Perhaps it was a fleeting moment, a shared glance, or a random interaction that, in retrospect, felt like a nudge from the universe itself. These experiences are profoundly human, yet they are also deeply mystical. They remind you that you are not separate from the current of life, you are part of it, inseparable from the intelligence that orchestrates reality in ways too subtle to measure, but too precise to ignore. Your personal experiences, your heartbreaks, triumphs, losses, and victories are not merely random events. They are part of a dialogue, a living conversation with existence itself. When you begin to perceive the threads connecting these moments, you realize that the universe has been speaking to you in its own quiet, persistent language all along. Every hesitation, every feeling of being off course, every moment of longing or confusion is part of this conversation, inviting you to listen, to reflect, and to understand your own path more clearly. There is an intimacy in realizing that you are seen, not by other people necessarily, but by the universe itself. That invisible presence is aware of your thoughts, your intentions, your deepest desires, and your greatest fears. It responds not with judgment but with guidance, signaling through the signs, synchronicities, and subtle nudges that have been present throughout your life. This is where the personal connection becomes profound. You are not merely experiencing life, you are participating in a co-creative process with something far greater than yourself. This understanding transforms how you view yourself. No longer are you a passive observer of chance events. You begin to see yourself as an active participant, capable of noticing, interpreting, and aligning with the patterns that are already shaping your existence. You start to understand that your feelings of doubt, fear, or frustration are not weaknesses, but opportunities, mirror reflections pointing toward growth, awareness, and awakening. In this space, self-trust becomes a practice, intuition becomes a guide, and patience becomes a sacred tool. And yet, the personal connection is not only about recognition of the universe, it is about recognition of yourself in relation to it. You are not separate from the signs, the synchronicities, or the cycles that shape your experience. You are the one who perceives them, interprets them, and acts upon them. This realization creates a profound sense of responsibility and empowerment. You begin to see that life is not merely happening to you, it is happening with you, in collaboration, in dialogue, and in alignment with the deeper currents of your being. When you allow yourself to feel this connection, something shifts. You feel less like a passive observer and more like a conscious participant in the unfolding of your own destiny. Every choice, every hesitation, every recognition of a sign becomes meaningful. You begin to trust that even your doubts have purpose, that even your mistakes are part of the greater pattern. You begin to feel seen, not in a superficial way, but in the profound, almost sacred recognition that your life is being orchestrated in alignment with what is truly meant for you. This is the personal connection, the bridge between the mystical and the human. It is where insight meets experience, where awareness meets vulnerability, and where the abstract truths of the universe become lived realities. To feel it fully is to awaken to a level of presence and trust that transforms not only how you perceive life, but how you participate in it. You begin to notice the signs, the patterns, the nudges, and the alignments, because you recognize yourself as part of the living dialogue. And in this recognition, you discover the sacred intimacy of being both a witness and a participant in the unfolding of your own destiny. The signs, synchronicities, and subtle nudges we have explored are not meant to remain abstract observations. They are invitations. They are calls to awareness, to conscious participation, and to alignment with the hidden rhythms that guide your life. And the call is not dramatic. It is quiet, persistent, and profound. It asks nothing from you but attention, openness, and trust. To awaken to these signs is to awaken to yourself. It is to realize that the universe is not something outside of you, separate and unknowable, but a living dialogue in which you are both participant and observer. Every thought, every intention, every subtle choice creates ripples that the universe responds to. When you align with these currents, you begin to move in harmony with the flow of what is truly meant for you. You begin to notice the invisible patterns and to act in ways that resonate with the deeper intelligence of existence. The first step toward this awakening is observation without judgment. Begin by noticing the moments that feel meaningful, uncanny, or unusually precise. Pay attention to the repeated numbers, the songs, the chance encounters, and the feelings that arise when you are faced with a decision or opportunity. Observe them as signals, not as mere coincidences. Allow yourself to see that these moments carry a significance that your rational mind cannot yet fully comprehend. This is the doorway into awareness, the practice of tuning in, noticing, and trusting. Next comes reflection. Ask yourself what these signs may be pointing toward. Which recurring patterns are present in your life? What nudges have you been ignoring? And what lessons have the universe been trying to teach you through repetition, timing, or resistance? Reflection is not about forcing interpretation. It is about deep, honest inquiry into your own experiences, motivations, and desires. In this reflective space, you begin to recognize the intelligence behind the patterns, the subtle choreography of events, and the unseen hand guiding you toward alignment with your highest potential. Action flows naturally from this awareness. But the action is not forced, nor is it frantic. It is deliberate, mindful, and resonant with the signs you have noticed. The universe invites participation, not control. Acting in alignment with signs, synchronicities, and intuitive nudges is an act of co-creation, where your will harmonizes with the rhythm of existence rather than opposing it. This is a practice of trust, a surrender to timing, and a conscious stepping into opportunities that are aligned with your soul's purpose. Obstacles, too, become instruments of guidance. Rather than resisting or resenting challenges, learn to see them as redirections, invitations to adjust your course, and mirrors reflecting areas where growth or understanding is required. When you encounter resistance, ask yourself, what is this teaching me? Where is the guidance hidden in this challenge? The universe often reveals its intentions through friction, not ease. By embracing the lessons within obstacles, you cultivate resilience, insight, and an attunement to the subtle intelligence that orchestrates your life. Relationships also serve as awakeners. The people who cross your path are rarely accidental. Some reflect your strengths, others mirror unhealed aspects of yourself, and some bring opportunities you cannot yet fully recognize. By observing these interactions without defensiveness and with an openness to insight, you allow yourself to receive guidance from those who serve as conduits of the universe's intelligence. This practice is part of the awakening, learning to see every encounter as a teacher, every connection as a potential revelation, and every relationship as a thread in the fabric of your destiny. Finally, the call to awakening is inseparable from trust. Trust in timing, trust in intuition, trust in the invisible currents that guide you, and trust in yourself as a conscious participant in this flow. Trust is not passive. It is an active engagement with the signs, the synchronicities, and the invisible architecture of life. To trust is to move with courage, to follow nudges, to act with discernment, and to recognize that the universe has been signaling, guiding, and orchestrating all along. This awakening is not a singular moment. It is a continuous practice, a deepening relationship with awareness itself. Each day becomes an opportunity to notice, reflect, and align. Life transforms from a series of random events into a living dialogue, a co-created unfolding in which your presence, attention, and intentionality shape the path forward. The signs that once went unnoticed now become beacons. The opportunities that seemed invisible now become invitations. And the patterns, cycles, and synchronicities that once confounded now reveal the intelligence of a universe that has been guiding you patiently, persistently, and perfectly all along. To answer this call is to step into your own power. It is to recognize that life is not something that happens to you. It is something you participate in, consciously, intentionally, and with awareness. The awakening does not change the external world immediately. It changes your perception, your presence, and your capacity to move with what is truly meant for you. And in this shift, every choice, every encounter, and every sign becomes a sacred opportunity to live aligned, awake, and deeply attuned to the invisible intelligence that surrounds and flows through you. As we reach the culmination of this journey, it becomes clear that the universe never truly stops speaking. It has been communicating all along, in the spaces between moments, in the pauses between words, in the fleeting, almost imperceptible signs that pass unnoticed by those too busy, too distracted, or too skeptical to observe. Life is not random, and the events we experience are not isolated fragments. They are part of a living, breathing symphony, a rhythm of intelligence and intention that moves through every aspect of existence. Now, as you reflect on the signs, synchronicities, and cycles that have appeared in your own life, you may begin to see them differently. The moments that once felt like accidents, coincidences, or frustrations may now reveal themselves as essential threads in the intricate tapestry of your journey. Every encounter, every challenge, every opportunity has played its role, guiding you toward what is authentically meant for you. And as this clarity unfolds, you begin to recognize a profound truth. The universe does not rush, it does not err, and it does not withhold. It waits patiently, arranging and realigning circumstances until your consciousness is ready to perceive the message it carries. There is a sacred rhythm to timing, an intelligence woven into the fabric of reality that defies human comprehension. The doors that opened, the obstacles that redirected you, the intuitive nudges that pushed you forward, and the people who reflected truths about yourself, all of these were part of a larger choreography, a divine orchestration that has been unfolding perfectly, even when you could not see it. Life, in this sense, is not a series of random events, but a deliberate and intentional flow, one that rewards attention, presence, and alignment. As you take this understanding into your own life, a subtle transformation begins. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. A chance encounter is no longer merely a passing moment. It is a message. A repeated number, a sudden insight, or an opportunity that seems too perfect is no longer dismissed. It is recognized as a guidepost. Even resistance, frustration, and confusion become sacred teachers, showing the way toward deeper understanding and alignment. You begin to see the invisible architecture of your life, a lattice of meaning and intention that has always existed, waiting for your awareness to catch up. In this realization, a profound intimacy emerges. You see that you are not separate from the universe, but an active participant in its flow. You are both observer and actor, co-creator and witness, moving in harmony with a rhythm that transcends time and logic. Each choice, each thought, each attention given to the signs and patterns around you becomes an act of alignment. You recognize that your destiny is not imposed upon you. It is revealed, moment by moment, in the interplay between awareness and action. And as you step fully into this understanding, a deep calm arises. There is no rush, no need for force, no requirement to control the unfolding of life. You learn to move with trust, to act with presence, and to honor the subtle signals that guide you. The signs, the synchronicities, the cycles, the nudges, the obstacles, the mirrors, and the timing coincidences, all of these become companions, teachers, and allies. They remind you that what is meant for you is already in motion, perfectly timed, and patiently awaiting your recognition. Ultimately, the universe leaves us with one final unspoken truth. Reality is not random, and life is not accidental. Everything unfolds in its perfect order, even when it appears chaotic or incomprehensible. The wisdom, the guidance, and the alignment have always been available. They have always been waiting for your awareness to catch up. And once you perceive this, the ordinary act of living becomes a sacred practice, a journey in which every moment carries potential, every encounter carries meaning, and every choice carries the weight of your conscious participation in the grand, intelligent flow of existence. As you move forward from this awareness, carry with you the recognition that your life is a living dialogue with the universe. The signs are everywhere, they are constant and patient. The doors will open, the patterns will repeat, the nudges will arrive, the obstacles will guide, the people will reflect. And the timing will always be precise. You are awake now, you are seeing, you are participating. And in this awakened state, the world transforms into a mirror of your own presence, revealing what has always been meant for you, perfectly timed, perfectly aligned, and profoundly alive.